The sound my daughter made wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was the kind of sound that happens when pain arrives faster than fear. A sharp breath. A broken whisper. And then silence. I turned around just in time to see her pull her hand back, shaking, eyes wide with confusion rather than anger. Karen was still holding the gate. And the police officer who arrived minutes later would decide, without asking a single question, that none of it mattered. That decision would end his career before the sun set. My daughter's name is Lena. She was born with developmental and motor impairments that doctors described in careful language, but the truth was simpler. Everything that came easily to other children took relentless effort for her. Holding a spoon. Buttoning a shirt. Writing her name. Her hands were not just hands. They were her independence. Years of occupational therapy taught her how to control her fingers, how to strengthen muscles that didn't cooperate, how to push through frustration without giving up. Every improvement felt like a victory. So when I saw her clutch her hand against her chest that afternoon, I knew something had gone terribly wrong. After my wife passed away, I wanted stability. Not luxury. Not prestige. Just predictability. The HOA community promised quiet streets, safety, and order. For a single father raising a disabled child, order sounded like peace. I didn't know that some people confuse order with control. Karen introduced herself before we had even unpacked. She didn't smile. She pointed. That ramp needs approval. It's temporary, I said calmly. My daughter needs it. She wrote something down without looking at me. That was our first conversation. It wouldn't be our last. Karen didn't harass loudly. She harassed methodically. Violation notices for assistive equipment. Complaints about Lena lingering in shared spaces. Emails reminding us that uniformity protects property value. Once, she said it plainly. Special accommodations create unfair expectations. I asked, unfair to whom? She didn't answer. Children internalize blame faster than adults. Lena began moving faster, even when it hurt. She practiced gripping objects longer than her therapist recommended. She refused help she clearly needed. One night, I heard her crying quietly in her room. I don't want to be the problem, she said. That sentence changed me. It was a weekday afternoon. Lena and I were walking back from the community mailbox. She carried the letters carefully, proud of herself. The main gate was open. Karen stood nearby, watching. Don't touch that, she snapped when Lena reached for the handle. Lena hesitated. She tried to step around instead. Her foot caught slightly. Her balance wavered. Karen moved fast, not to help, but to control. She grabbed the gate to slam it shut. Lena's hand was still there. There was no dramatic motion. Just force applied without awareness or care. Lena screamed. I rushed forward immediately. Karen froze. I didn't mean, she began, then stopped herself. Instead, she said, she shouldn't have been touching it. Lena was shaking. She wasn't crying loudly, she was confused, trying to understand why something she did every day had suddenly become dangerous. I knelt beside her, checking her hand gently. No one move, Karen snapped. This is going to be reported properly. That should have been my warning. The patrol car pulled up within minutes. The officer stepped out confidently. Karen smiled. They knew each other. That told me everything. The officer spoke to Karen first. What happened? She answered without hesitation. Negligent parenting. She interfered with HOA property. The officer nodded. He didn't ask Lena what happened. He didn't ask me. He didn't examine the gate. He turned to me. You need to control your child. I stared at him. My child has a disability, I said evenly. He sighed. That doesn't excuse behavior. Karen crossed her arms. The story was already written for them. The officer began typing. He didn't record Lena's pain. He didn't note Karen's action. He wrote that the injury was self-inflicted due to improper supervision. I asked to correct it. He refused. Sign or don't, he said. It won't change anything. They didn't see my hands shaking, not with anger, but with restraint. They didn't see me memorize every word. They didn't know I recorded the interaction quietly, legally, the way I always do. Because I had learned long ago, people in power often believe they are untouchable. At the clinic, doctors focused on stabilization and care. No graphic detail. Just careful voices. Lena asked one question. Will I have to start all over? I couldn't answer. The officer returned later that evening to close the case. He told me Karen had filed a formal complaint against me for creating a hazardous environment. I laughed. He didn't. I didn't argue. I didn't threaten. I requested documentation. He seemed annoyed. Why are you making this difficult? I replied, I'm making it accurate. Neighbors began reaching out quietly. They had seen Karen's behavior before. They had been afraid. Now they weren't. One by one, they shared what they knew. Security cameras don't take sides. The gate. The timing. Karen's action. Everything was there. And it contradicted the officer's report completely. I submitted everything. Not emotionally. Professionally. Video. Witness statements. Medical notes. The recording of the officer dismissing my concerns. The tone changed quickly. Calls returned faster. Questions became specific. The officer was placed on leave. Karen stopped answering emails. He claimed misunderstanding. He claimed pressure. He claimed he was trying to keep peace. But peace without truth is just silence forced on the vulnerable. The findings were clear. Falsified report. Failure to investigate. Bias. He was terminated. Not quietly. Immediately. Karen lost her HOA position within days. Then came civil complaints. Then came scrutiny. Her authority dissolved faster than she ever imagined. Therapy resumed. Slowly. Some days were hard. Some days were hopeful. Lena worked harder than anyone should have to. But she never quit. One night, she asked, "Did I do something wrong?" I said, "No. You survived something wrong." She nodded. That was enough. This wasn't about a gate. It was about who people believe, who they protect, and who they ignore. Policies changed. Accessibility rules strengthened. Oversight increased. Not because of outrage. Because of evidence. Power doesn't corrupt everyone. But it reveals those already willing to abuse it. My daughter didn't need revenge. She needed truth. And sometimes, truth is the strongest force in the room.